All right. Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. It is release week here in Kubernetes world. Kubernetes 1.19 should be going out the door this week. I know we have a few things to talk through and work through today, and I'm excited to do so with everyone here. So thank you all for attending. Today is Monday, August 24th. This is a release team meeting for 1.19. This is a Kubernetes meeting as well. We abide by the Kubernetes Code of Conduct, which simplifies down to please be excellent to one another. Today I figured we'd just kind of go through status of everything, see where everyone is at, just kind of where we're landing on overall gut feel and what all the items look like for 1.19. We're proposing to go live tomorrow with some of the flakes and other things. I definitely want to talk through that and see if everyone still feels good about that. And then I'm going to jump over into some issues and PRs here and just kind of talk through them, make sure that they have an owner, and then again, see if everyone feels good on that front. So to kick things off, I'd love to turn it over to Nabrun with enhancements.
Hi everyone, happy Monday. So enhancements is green. We have 9 new enhancements coming into this release as alpha. 15 enhancements are graduating to stable, and 10 enhancements are 15 enhancements are graduating to beta, and 10 enhancements are graduating to stable. So in total, we have like 34 enhancements in this release, and that's all on our side.
Awesome. Thank you, Nabrun. Any questions for enhancements? Excellent. Moving on to, thank you very much, Nabrun. Moving on to the big ticket item today, CI signal. Turn it over to Dan.
Hey folks, hope everyone had a nice weekend. So we are yellow right now. You could maybe consider it red. Right now, integration master is reporting failing. It's actually just flaking really aggressively. Haven't identified the root cause yet, but it appears to be infrastructure related due to the fact that there were no changes to underlying tests or anything like that. And it was happening across the different branches. It is flaking more aggressively on master. So we're trying to look at what is going on there. Like I said, it is likely not related to a code quality issue. So that is good, but we also aren't getting signal. So we can't really say that for sure. So we'd like to get that resolved. There were some changes recently made to the cluster that these jobs are running on, which shouldn't be impacting them, but could potentially be. So talking to Aaron a little bit about potentially rolling those changes back. Outside of that, other things are looking good, except for on 1.19. Verify 1.19 is also having some timeouts. Once again, likely infrastructure related, but we haven't been able to identify the root cause there. So we're going to continue to look at that. And these are things that we would definitely want to get resolved by tomorrow, despite them likely being related to infrastructure. So we'll continue to keep you updated in the release channels.
Cool. Thank you so much, Dan. Yeah, I think that obviously, I think if we stay in sync and kind of check in where everything's at, we can make that decision, a little bit later today and just kind of keep going back and forth, see where things are at. Any additional comments or questions, concerns for CI signal? I think
there was one failing test issue, the kube control skew tests. Did we ever get a response from SIG-CLI as to whether that is release blocking?
Is that the one related to the version markers?
Yes.
So I don't believe it is release blocking, but I don't think we got explicit response from the SIG-CLI folks on that issue, so I can ping them in Slack.
Okay. I mean, yeah, given the marker issues, I think it's expected that the tests are not working. The question is it okay to release without positive signal that we haven't broken skew? So
for sure.
Is this for skew cluster latest kubectl stable 1 GCE?
Yes, and it's also across a few other jobs as well.
So at least asking the simplest question, that job seems to be completely green since since 0809, which which has been a while.
Yeah,
Is
I
there?
think so. So one of the main issues with this is that despite it being green, it could be testing the wrong thing because of the version marker issues, right? So it's pulling the wrong Kubernetes version, which obviously that would be an issue when you're doing a skew test between versions.
Yeah, cool. Okay, thanks.
I'm also not sure that we're looking at the same thing because I see skew tests that are not green. So I just put a link in the chat. We can follow up offline on this one, but just want to make sure we're looking at the same thing.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jordan. Any other questions, comments, or concerns with CI signal? Excellent. Let's move on to bug triage with Vlad.
Hey, we are yellow. Most of the issues on our radar are related to tests. One that is important soon that Jordan just mentioned with Kubernetes, with kubectl skew tests. There is no reply as of 30 minutes ago about whether it's release blocking or not, but nothing more other than that.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, Vlad.
I did want to call out one issue. There's the endpoint slice mirroring bug. Looks like it is a regression, and so that is the one that I'm most concerned about resolving. So I'm actually talking with Rob now to try to look at the minimal safe fix to address the regression. But it is likely that that is a release blocker.
Should we label it so?
How do we label it so?
I'll take a look there. I think there is release blocking label.
Oh, there is. We go back and forth as to whether that's a label we're going to use and whether it means anything, but I just threw it on there, so sure.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Any other comments, questions, concerns for bug triage? Awesome. Thank you, Vlad. Thank you, Jordan. Let's move on to docs.
Hi, everyone. Hope everyone is doing good. We are green. K website is frozen now, and I have all the config PRs ready to go once the release is done, so that they just change the version and the drop down displays for latest releases. And I reached out to all the localization teams and make sure that they are aware the K website is frozen. And it's all from me. I have a quick question that so the website merge will take place after the code is merged and that issue is the PR is done. And I'm hoping for the point of contact for it, or how do we coordinate? This is the first time I'm coordinating. So is it via the Slack channel or on the issue?
Yeah, I'd say that we've kind of gone back and forth on that one throughout different releases. Obviously through the GitHub issue, just kind of going back and forth there. As we go through the release process, we've again gone back and forth there. Some releases have been a little bit more vocal, which is good to let people know that things are moving forward. I'd say that priority would probably be just GitHub for point of record, and then just in real time as it makes sense to put things into SIG release and kind of let people know on that front.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any questions for docs?
Did the SIG leads get sent a draft of the release notes to sweep? I know normally that happens and there's normally a fair amount of cleanup, but I didn't remember seeing that get sent out.
Yeah, we that was the you mean the actual draft of the final notes?
Yeah.
It's published in SIG release, and the last draft we generated after RC4, and
Okay.
we sent the document of the major themes, and it got a fairly substantial amount of editing by various SIGs.
Okay. I know, especially for like deprecations and sort of the urgent must read before upgrading sections, it's helpful to have sort of the subject matter experts sweep those to make sure that those are completely correct. And sometimes when there's a couple pull requests that sort of do things related to each other, the automatically compiled release notes don't quite flow, capturing what people need to do. So yeah, if we could just get eyes, especially on those sections, deprecations, API changes, and required before upgrade, that would be helpful.
Yeah, sure. It's the current one has the last one we generated, and I'm running several test runs right now, so I can update the one on SIG release with a previous version if you want.
Adolfo, when you're ready with that stuff, can you send out a note to leads@kubernetes.io?
Sure.
As well as KDev, just to get people to do a last review.
Sure, of course.
Cool. Thank you so much, Adolfo, Jordan, and Stephen. Thank you, Savita, for the docs update. And then kind of, I know it kind of rolled into that, but let's go to release notes.
I'm sorry. I'm skipping.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah. So as I was saying, we've finished gathering and composing the final major themes for the release notes. We had a lot of input from each SIG. So shout out to my shadows, who really did a really good job on pestering them. And yeah, as I was saying, I'm gonna push a final draft for people to review. It shouldn't change much from what is currently published, but we'll see. And if there's anything you want to change or anything, just let us know.
Cool. Thank you so much, Adolfo. Any questions for release notes? All right, let's move on to comms with Max.
Hey everyone, wish you a nice release week. The release block is so far ready. We're just waiting the last minute link updates as well as a super secret name for the release and whatever else Taylor has to tell us about the logo and yeah. We have 5 on 5 feature blocks there in a good draftable status. Currently we're checking them and putting also the cherries on top of them, rephrasing here and there some sentence to make them a little bit more fluent in the read. And I'm also in contact with the CNCF. For them, it's really important to know when we are going to do the release because they have to inform also the, as they call friendly, the media and the newspapers, the digital ones.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Max. Yeah, I'll have that stuff typed up a little bit later today. So it still feel good on that front. Still feel good with green. Any questions for comms? Excellent. Let's move on to release branch management with Sasha.
Hey, we are mostly green. We had no updates, but Stephen wrote something. We issued a release blocking. A release block of OK release, yeah, and that's it. We're waiting for cutting the release tomorrow.
Awesome, thank you, Sasha. Any questions for release branch management? All right, I don't see Tim on the call. I talked a little bit with him this morning, and I'll just go ahead and give my update. I talked with Tim, and he said that we have instructions on what we're going to do for the release schedule. I've gone ahead and put them in this document underneath the how this meeting works section. There's a release day plan entry, and so we kind of have some stock steps to follow, and we'd follow them in that order and make sure that everything is checked off as we go through that. So if you have any questions about kind of like how the overall process works, that's what we're going to follow. If there's anything that we need to add to, Tim mentioned that obviously every release is different concerns, features, etc. So if we need to add anything in there, we absolutely should do so. But in terms of go no go, I'd say at the point in time right now, we're no go just because we have some critical items that we need to address and to get through. We can that can be updated throughout the day if we get into a better state. If we see a lot more green and we get through that one blocking issue. But until then, I'd say right now we're at a no go. Looking at the SIG scalability update. 8.17, the jobs look good, no release blockers. Obviously, we talked a little bit about that. We've definitely got one that we're looking at right now. And then I'd love to kick it over to Lori before I kind of go through open discussion and then take a look at the open issues and PRs that we have right now.
Oh, I don't really have anything to report. I'm just catching up from moving and things, so.
Well, congrats. Yeah, hopefully your uncontainerizing goes pretty well in your new place.
Oh yeah, it's all done. Thanks.
Awesome. Let's move into open discussion. Does anyone have anything they'd like to address for 119 or anything like that?
Yeah, so not specifically for 119, but as we move from 119 into 120, there was a proposal by Jordan to reopen development for 120. Take a look at that proposal. The proposal has been approved by architecture, release, and testing. And I sent an email a little earlier, right before this call, to notify the community as well as the SIG, as well as the leads. This will require some help from people doing triage. So people who are on issue and bug triage, we will reach out to you as we move past the cycle and into that reopen phase. So a few things are going to happen. Super high level overview is that we're going to be limiting merges to PRs in the to the 120 milestone. So that's basically the same milestone restriction that we apply for the release branches as we cut a new branch. So basically we shift it so that only issues and PRs that are targeted for that in development release can be merged. So basically we're adding an additional step of shifting that merge, that milestone merge restriction to 120 instead of 119. This means that the PRs that can merge are going to be the ones that are specifically targeted for the 120 milestone, which means that it will require milestone maintainers to explicitly say that I want something to merge before it does merge. The part of the reason for this is that we want to essentially slow down the queue as we pull new content in, and we want to do it very explicitly for items that are low impact, low risk. We want to focus on the failing tests, then documentation and cleanup, and then smaller bug fixes before we start to move into a full reopen. So during that low risk bug fix period, we'll ask SIG leads, SIG chairs, leads, and milestone maintainers to assess the criticality of the various bugs that are in the milestone for them before, or that are in their area in general before targeting them for a milestone, right? So training the queue in these phases of failing tests, documentation cleanup, and low risk bugs. And at that point, we're going to ask SIGs to continually look at their CI signal, try to root cause and fix test failures before we officially open up for development. So overall, this process should, by my calculation, take roughly a week and maybe a day or two. Jordan has a PR that he's been working for the last. It's been some time. It's been some time to target some to target some test flakes, and that I think we're close. I think once we do the release, we should be maybe a week out from merging that. Jordan, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I'll drop a link in case anyone wants to see. And this PR is sort of the poster child for like why it's important to pay attention to CI signal. So the point of this is not just to make us all suffer and like fix tests, but it turns out tests are actually good. And when they fail, sometimes they're telling us that there are real bugs. So there's a big long list of like unit test flakes that were being masked by our test job retrying up to 3 times. And so of these, I don't know, 15 issues we found, there were actually like 3 or 4 real bugs. So that's a pretty good ratio. So this is why we pay attention to our tests. But if anyone is interested, tomorrow in SIG testing, the bi-weekly meeting, I'm actually going to be walking through sort of how I went about reproducing some of these things, some of the tools and techniques for stress testing and taking things that are rare flakes in CI and actually reproducing them like really frequently and really quickly so that you can fix them. Anyway, so we've got a few hangers on here that we're still trying to figure out. If we can't get those, we will probably enable the protection and do something to mitigate these few flakes while we're working on them to keep new things from getting introduced.
Cool. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Jordan. Any questions on that front? Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen really quick. Just go through the, where the heck is Chrome? There it is. I'm going to go through these items just really quick with everyone here. So just for some numbers, we do have 11 open issues targeting, or I think these are, yeah, these are issues targeting 119. Of those, I believe it's about 8 last I checked. Okay, 6 open criticals. So there are 2 without owners. I would like to, and we don't have to do this right now, but would like to get some assignees there just so we have some ownership. Let me grab the pull requests. As far as pull requests go, let me refresh this. I didn't see any criticals, but did see 8 opens, and obviously, some of these aren't imperative to get solved before we get everything buttoned up and 119 released. But again, I did see 2 that didn't have any assignees, and so going to work with definitely want to work with the team on that. Are there any other items that anyone has heard in terms of critical issues or release blocking bugs? I know I talked with the leads last week and we hadn't heard anything, but did want to open that up for discussion if anyone else has heard anything on that front.
One thing I want to mention real quick is that as part of the integration jobs failing quite a bit, that is blocking getting some things merged as well, as you could imagine, because the pre-submit is also failing. So just keep that in mind and looking at some of these PRs. I know, for instance, that top one there is pretty much ready to go in, but it has a hold right now because we're just continuously retesting and it was failing. So keep that in mind as we try and figure that out.
Cool. Awesome. No, that sounds good. Yeah, when one domino goes, knowing more will fall is a good thing. Cool. Thank you, Dan.
So a few of these are mine or close by, and I'll move those out of the milestone. I'll do a quick sweep of the issues and PRs and try to move some out of the milestone that don't need to be there.
Cool. Yeah, and if anyone needs help with anything, I'm blocked off the next couple days to help out with anything. So please, don't be a stranger. If you need help, if you feel swamped or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me and we can get this knocked out. But cool. That sounds good to me. Thank you so much, everyone. Any other items, and I'll go into kind of like final comments, and then we can put a pin in it. Excellent. So last week, I did get a bunch of good commentary around retro. We got some new items added into that document. Obviously, we want 119 to go out before we plan the retro and go through those items. I'm going to sync with Tim. If we get if we launch on Wednesday, I'll kind of take a temperature, see if Thursday is too soon to have that retrospective. Otherwise, we can look at having that next week or plan that accordingly. But if you have anything else, or as we get into the final hours of this release, if you have any comments, questions, concerns, please be sure to put those into the retro, and we'll address those as we go through the retrospective. Awesome. And with that, any final comments or questions? Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I hope you have a fantastic Monday. Nowhere to go but up, and nothing else to do other than release 119. So thank you very much for your hard work. Looking forward to getting this out this week. And yeah, again, let me know if you have any problems, and we'll get things knocked out. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.